Hello and welcome to this video demonstration of my restaurant management system. So to start with, you will need to have the jar file that contains the program itself. You will also need to have a restaurants folder that contains the restaurants that you would like to be using with the system. So I've created 3 restaurants: an Indian restaurant, a Vietnamese restaurant and an Italian restaurant. So if we start up the file, and we are presented with the select a folder location screen. So what you need to do is you need to select which restaurant you want to be loading into the system. So if we click select, we get a folder chooser dialog, and if we navigate to my desktop into the restaurants folder, and let's go with the Italian restaurant, and we click select folder, you can see it gives you the directory in green, and we click next, and we now have loaded that restaurant into the system. Now we need to log in. So if you try and log in, obviously it won't let you unless you enter your username and password. So I'm going to log in as Fabio, and his password is password1. Now I click login, and it takes me to the home page. So on the left you have in the top left hand corner the restaurant's logo. It tells you who you're logged in as. You have some options for, to do with tables, and you have some options for the database. So first of all, if we click on the tables here, you can see they're laid out according to how they'd be laid out in the restaurant. On the right hand side here pops up all of the table details. So if we click table 1, you have the table number, you have the waiter who's active on that table, you have the date that this order was placed, you have the menu that this order comes from, and then you have the menu itself detailed, so the starters, mains, desserts, and the total and any special requests. So if you click on each of the tables, you can see the differences between all the orders that are placed on the table. So different waiters, different menus, different dates, different requests. And now the first thing I'd like to show you is how to view the menus. So each restaurant has a range of menus. If you click view menu, it brings up this window that allows you to select from the dialog box, the combo box at the top, which menu you'd like to view. So if you click breakfast menu, it will load the breakfast menu. You get the logo, signature, name of the menu, and then you get all the menu items and their prices and their ingredients as well. And if you select, say, the evening menu, it will load the evening menu, so you can see all the different menus that each restaurant has. You click close, and that closes the window, and you're back at the home page. Now I'd like to show you how to edit an order. So to do this, you choose a table. So say, for example, we'll choose table 3, which the current waiter is Fabio, who we are. And if we go to edit order, we get to the edit order screen, where you have the order shown here in the middle. You have the menu that order comes from, so the evening menu comes from the evening menu. And on the left here, you can add and remove menu items and set the special requests. So say we want to add a dessert, because we don't have one. So if we go to the desserts, we can see that there is a tiramisu. So if we type tiramisu into the box here, and we click add item, you see tiramisu appears in the order. Alternatively, to avoid making spelling mistakes, we can select from the list. This list here is the list of everything in the menu on the right hand side. So we'll add a drink, so say let's add a lemonade, add item, and you can see it appears here. Now if we want to remove items, so for example we can see we've got 2 lots of gnocchi, we can either type the name in, click remove item, or you can select it from the list below. So if we remove one of these arancini, gets removed. The special requests can be edited by changing the text in this box. So say they said it's a child's birthday, you click update, you can see the special requests get updated, and now you click save and close. If you click close, it won't save what you've done. To delete an order, you can go into edit order again, and you can click delete order. Now it will prompt you, are you sure you want to permanently delete the order? And if we click yes, you can see that the order then disappears, and you can then add in items So this is from the New Year's menu, so it's different again. Save and close. Now the next thing that you can do is you can archive orders. So if we click on an order that we want to archive, like say order number 5, and then we click archive order, it will save that table order into the order system and then delete the order. So if we want to look at the orders that we've archived, we can click load order, which will load from the system into the current tables. So here are all of the orders currently stored in our system. As you click through them, you can see that they're all different menus and things like that. Here's the one that we just archived right at the bottom. Now you can import more than one at the same time by holding down Control and selecting, but they all have to be from the same menu. If they're not, it won't let you import them. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the one that we just archived. Now you can choose to append it to your existing order, so that will add the menu items on, or you can replace the whole order with the one that you're loading. So we will just click load, and there you can see it's now appearing on that table's order sheet. Now the next thing that I'll show you is how to create a new order. So for that, say if we try to create a new order with a table that's already got an order on it, we click new order, it will first prompt you, do you want to archive the existing order? We'll say yes. That order will be archived, and now you can select which menu you want for your new order. So you have the list of available menus for this restaurant here. We're going to select the lunch menu, continue, and we're back to the familiar edit order window with the lunch menu and lunch menu items here that can be added and removed in the usual way. Now the next thing you can do is that you can import orders into your system. So orders that aren't stored in the restaurants file but that are stored elsewhere. So I have a CSV file here of old orders which is properly formatted in the CSV format that this restaurant system uses, which is using a semicolon as the separator field. So what we do is we click import orders, and then in the top left here we have to select an order file. So I want to select this old orders file on my desktop. So I click select file, navigate to my desktop, click the old orders file, and then click open. Now what it does is that it then reads that file and all the orders that are found in it, and you can click through them here in the list view, and you can then select which ones you want to import into the system itself so that you can then load them as we've seen. Now you can select more than one as well, and it will import them all as separate orders. So we click import, and now if we go back to load and we scroll to the very bottom, you'll see the 4 orders that we just imported are now in the system. Cancel. Now the next thing you can do is that you can export orders from the orders that have been archived into a text file in the same way that this old orders is working, with a semicolon as the separator. So to do that, you click export orders, and again it shows you the list of all the orders that are in your system. We can choose a couple of them by holding down Control. Now we select the field separator, so you can choose which one you like, but I use the semicolon because that's the one that the system is using. And then you can enter a file name, so say if we want to call this export1, and we click export. Now we can choose where to export it to, so I'll export it to the desktop, select folder, and if you wait a moment you'll see there it just popped up. This is the text file we just created that was exporting all of those orders that we selected. So if you look at the file format, you have the order number, the date, the menu, whether there are any special requests, so for example quiet table please, and then trailing off to the right you have all of the menu items in that order. Now because this is in the correct semicolon separated format, you can actually import it back in. So if we go back to our import dialog and we navigate to it, export one, open, you can see the orders in here, and we could import them back into the system if we wanted. The next thing you can do is that you can search orders that have been archived or that have been loaded into the system. So if we click search orders, you can search either by a keyword or a phrase or by a time period. So to first search by a keyword, say for example, you can search by the waiter's name, you could search by the menu item, you could search by the menu that they used. So if we search Fabio, click text search, all the orders show up where Fabio was the waiter for, as you can see. And there were 9 results. We can also search by a time period using the date pickers. So we have the from date, so say for example 1st of December up until 7th of December, date search. All of these orders in the system were placed between those 2 dates, as you can see. Now what you can do with your search results is that you can select as many as you want holding Control down, and then with the export feature here you can export them to a file again. So you can choose your separator field, so we'll use a semicolon. You can give the file name, so we'll call it search results 1, and you can click export and it will ask you where you want to export them to. So say if we export them to the desktop, select folder, it closes the window for you, and there you can see it's just appeared the orders that we've exported. You can close that down, and similarly you could import them back into the system if you wanted to. Now the next thing I'd like to show you is the administrator window, which as you can see can only be accessed by people with administrator privileges. So Fabio doesn't have those. So if we click back, we have to log out and log back in as an administrator. Now an administrator login that I've created is Federico, and his password is Fred followed by 4 ones. And we're back in the system as Federico, and we can do all the usual things that Fabio is doing, but we can now access the administrator window. Now on the administrator window you have the staff activity log, which records everything that all of the staff members have been doing over time. So as you can see, when we were logged in as Fabio, we were creating new orders, archiving orders, deleting orders, logged out, and then we can see Federico logged in. And if you scroll down over time, you can see everything that's been done by all of the staff. If you want to look at one staff member in particular, that's what staff activity here is for. That allows you to select an employee at the top. So say if we choose Gregorio, and then here you can see a list of everything that Gregorio has done in the system. So logging out, changing special requests, etc. Now if you click close, it takes you back to the administrator window. Now the next thing we can do as an administrator is that we can edit staff. So to do that you click edit staff, and you can see on the right hand side here you've got all the staff that are stored in this restaurant staff list. Now it gives you their name, password and their clearance level. So as you can see, Federico has administrator clearance. Now their passwords are hidden. This is a security feature just to make sure that no one is looking over your shoulder. So to show their passwords, if you push down on this button, it shows their passwords, and as soon as you release the mouse, it hides them again. So we're going to create an employee. So we have to set their name. So we'll create an employee called Jacopo. We have to set Jacopo's password, which will be password 9. Now it's worth mentioning that the passwords have to be at least 8 characters long, and they have to contain at least 1 character and no white space. So I've just typed in password, but I haven't included a digit there. So when we try to add the employee, it tells us that the password is not strong enough and we need to add on 9 onto the end. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to set the clearance level. So an employee can either have basic or administrator clearance. So we're going to make Jacopo an administrator, and now we click add employee, and as you can see Jacopo now appears in the box on the right hand side, and if we show passwords you can see his password, password 9. Now Jacopo is a full employee, so if we look here we can see that Federico created a new employee, and I viewed the passwords, and if I go on staff activity, Jacopo has now appeared and he's been created by Federico. And if we log out of the system, we can now log back in as Jacopo. here we are, we're logged in as Jacopo. Now that's all of the key functionality that can be found in this program. What I think makes it quite useful is that you can load different restaurants. So we've been working with this Italian restaurant, but if you have a different set of files, a staff list, a list of menus, all saved as the CSV files, similar to these ones here, you can load different restaurants. So if we log out now and we close down the program and then we restart it, and this time we're going to select a different restaurant folder on the desktop. So we're going to select Memories of India, which is the Indian restaurant. And now we click Select Folder, Next, and I'm going to log in as Anish, who is one of the employees of this restaurant. Log in. Oh, whoops, sorry. And now I'm logged in as Anish on this system. This restaurant has its own set of menus, it has its own set of staff, it has its own tables with orders that are from the new menus. If you can see that the restaurant has its own logo in the top left. You can do all the usual things like editing orders with the menus. You can view the menus. You can see that they have a Diwali menu. And if you scroll down, you can see that there's a lot of Indian cuisine, so it's very different to the Italian restaurant in the content. Similarly, it has an administrator section, and you can see what Anish has been doing over time and the other employees. You can edit staff, so you can see all of the staff here on the right hand side, and you can do all of the same things we were doing in the Italian restaurant. And lastly, just to show you, I've also created the relevant folders for a Vietnamese restaurant. So if we go back to the restaurants folder and we go to Miss Saigon, select folder, next, we can now log in as Paul 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're now in the Saigon Vietnamese restaurant with its own tables and its own orders and its own menu items and its own menus, as you can see, that are completely different to the Indian and Italian restaurants. And similarly, the staff have been doing different things, adding pineapple sorbet and things like that over time. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video.